All right. So Varleen, thank you so much for joining us today. And those who don't know, उनको मैं बता दूं कि Varleen just got the admission for the MSc Biochemistry program at the Memorial University of Newfoundland. और आई एम रियली ग्रेटफुल कि वो आज हमारे साथ अपनी जर्नी और अपना एक्सपीरियंस और अपनी प्रोफाइल डिस्कस कर रही हैं. सो वर्लीन, ओवर टू यू. लेट्स स्टार्ट विद योर प्रोफाइल.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I have done BSc in Home Science with the specialization in dietetics from Government Home Science College, Punjab University, Chandigarh. So this is actually a 3-year degree and from a NAC A graded college. So
Okay.
I think this is something which most people don't know, that universities in Canada do accept 3 years of undergrad degree from India. But if it is from a NAC A graded or higher level graded colleges. So if you're wondering what is NAC, NAC is it's a National Assessment and Accreditation Council, which is created by UGC, and it assesses and accredits colleges and ranks them according to their specific objectives. So my overall score in undergrad was 84%, and my IELTS score is 7.5 with 8.5 in listening, 8 in reading, and 6.5 each in speaking and writing. So like I did my 11th and 12th with non-medical subjects like physics, chemistry, physics, chemistry, and mathematics. So talking about my experiences, I didn't have any, previous research or publications before my undergrad or during my undergrad, but I had good amount of voluntary experiences and some lab courses which I had done during the BSc. So I would say appropriating your experiences, appropriately presenting your experiences is the key here.
Why did you choose this program or this university?
So initially, I began by shortlisting universities where I was eligible to apply and meet the minimum requirements. After that, I looked into the department and professor's profile whose interest was similar to mine. Most of the professors, have their personal pages and personal websites where they mention their current openings and what current projects are going on in their lab. So it is best to focus on those openings and see what is currently being done.
Okay.
For me, and a ranking of the university didn't matter much. It was not of very, and even the ranking and even the province was not of huge importance. I always focused on the research going over there, and especially facilities provided by the university, like labs, RIC, and TA ships. And moreover, also check that if after graduating from this university, I will be able to get the postgraduate work permit or not, right? And the thing which I liked most about this university is it is neither too small nor too big, and St. John's is a very peaceful city. I even contacted some students before finalizing and accepting the final offer, so I can get to know the real picture over there. And Memorial being the cheapest university of Canada, so the fees is quite less, and the remaining funds I can adequately use for my living.
Okay.
So yeah, and my program is actually a mix of nutrition and biochemistry, in which I've always been interested since my undergrad days. The biggest factor I would say in choosing this university and program is my thesis project and my professors.
Perfect. So basically the area of interest is the primary reason why you actually went for this particular program, right?
Exactly.
And so you also mentioned something about the scholarships and this program being fully funded from the government. How does that go?
So for thesis-based masters, I think in Canada for thesis-based masters, funding is usually from the professors' grants, Department of Sport, and graduate assistantships. Okay. In my case, the funding is half of the funding is from professors' grant and half of from the School of Graduate Studies, that is Graduate Department of Memorial University. The amount is usually fixed but may vary from department to department and depending on the grants professors currently holding. So you can one thing I would say, even though it is like pre-assumed that thesis based master is always funded, but in some universities it is not like that. So it is better to email the graduate department and ask if this particular degree, this thesis based particular degree is funded or not by that specific university. And also, I feel the interview, which happens after you have contacted the professor and he's a little bit interested in you, and this interview is usually before he finalizes everything.
Mhm.
So if that interview goes well and he is impressed by you, he will tell you the amount of funding in that interview only, and then you can just get an idea that this is almost things are done now.
Great, great, great. So, what is the scenario in your case? Is it a fully funded program? Are you paying anything from your own pocket?
It is completely fully funded.
Okay.
So my tuition fees will be covered by the funding only. And
Okay.
living, I am assuming that I will be able to cover. So let's see. Remaining, I will go and see over there. Most probably, I'll be going for TA ship also.
Oh,
So
great, great. So you will
yeah,
be
that will
work
also.
basically. For those who don't know, TA means the teaching assistantship, right? And it is basically an
Yeah.
on-campus job which will pay you very incredibly well, and you will be able to afford
Yeah.
everything, even if you're living on campus, even if you're living in a hostel. The salary is quite well in the TA kind of jobs. Varleen, what I'm thinking is, let's make this podcast about the steps you need to undertake if you are also planning to pursue a research-based master's here in Canada, which you are expecting to be fully funded and you don't want to spend anything, something like that. So let's start with the step one. As you said, like, shortlist the university based on your personal interests and look for the professors who are actually doing the research in the similar domain, and then start with the cold
Yes.
emailing. And you were explaining the steps for the cold emailing, but that internet thing happened. So let's start with the step one, that is cold emailing. So I'll hand it over to you.
So yes, as I said, cold emailing is the best way to contact a professor in the Canadian universities when you're sitting over here in India.
Right.
So I used to explain a little bit about my academic background, my research interests, and why I was interested in working with them specifically. And attach your transcript, CV, and IELTS score sheet along with that. That can be very helpful to them.
Okay.
So reading their profile and published papers is very important to personalize the email and to add specific things which will make sure that you know them, that you are
Okay.
specifically interested in them, that you've written this email just for them.
Right.
So professors do not reply all the time. So few of the professors didn't reply back, and I
Mhm.
used to send a reminder email after 4 to 5 days. And
Okay.
even after that, I don't get a reply. Then I used to just leave it and move to another professor.
Okay.
So some just replied by saying that they are not taking currently taking students, and that's okay. From some, I got positive responses even, and I've
Okay.
just finalized with this Memorial University and my professor were there. One trick which I would say can be helpful to all of you and which helped me is
Mhm.
that always send the email at the starting of the week. That is on Monday and Tuesday, and during the initial work hours, that is around 9 to 9 a.m. and 10 a.m.
Okay.
By doing this, your email won't get lost under the many emails the professor might be receiving over the weekend. So if you're sending an email around 9 a.m. and he's opening his account around 10 a.m., your email will be on the top of all the emails, and the professor will definitely at least open it once.
So if I summarize whatever you just said, like, I would say cold emailing is the key to start the conversation.
Hmm.
And obviously
Yes.
you have to draft the cold email in such a way that the professor actually feels that you are interested in that particular domain of research in which that professor is involved at that particular time, right? So if the thesis, if the student has some kind of publications and he or she has published some research papers in the past, that's a cherry on the cake. But even if you
Yes.
haven't done that, research components of everything you have done in the past can be beneficial for you at this point, right?
Exactly.
Perfect.
One thing I would say is be confident.
Okay.
So yeah, I've seen students are very like they think that I don't have a good profile, I won't get
Mhm,
over there, but at
mhm.
least you have to try it once. If you're interested in research, be confident that I have done this work, and you just have to like show that I've done this work and what changes it brought and what was my role. So if you like emphasize on your role, it will be very helpful.
Okay, so nice. Yeah,
You have to
it
be
is.
also very clear.
I think it is very much similar to a job interview, right? It's like as if you
Yeah,
are actually applying for a job in a company, and the kind of preparation you have done, you usually do for those kind of interviews, you have to do the similar thing for this one as well, right?
exactly.
Perfect.
So be clear and be confident. Yeah.
Great. Okay, Varleen. So now we know that you didn't do any research in your undergrad during your bachelor's degree, but
Yeah.
you actually ended up scheduling a video call with the professor of Memorial University of Newfoundland based on because of your cold emailing and because of how you actually approached that particular professor. How
Yes, right.
what did you do in the interview to get this fully funded opportunity to study here in Canada? How was your interview?
So my interviews were very smooth. I would say my professor was very nice to me, and he didn't ask a lot of technical questions. So he even didn't ask a lot of questions regarding my field. So he just asked me what subjects I have studied in my undergrad, and he was more to know that what is my previous academic experience. So he even asked me about my research experience. So what research do you have any research experience? He asked me this question.
Mhm.
So I had some voluntary experience with the midday meal programs, which is organized by the government of India to provide free lunches to school children in government schools. So I had experience with them, and so I presented in that way that it is a very good research thing. Though we had done research during that voluntary work, but I would say I presented in a very well, in a way that it was like huge. It is of huge importance.
Right.
So that is, I think, more important. And during the interview, also I cross questioned him that what are you looking in a student? What is the graduate department of biochemistry looks like? Yeah. So what are your current projects and what scope this project has in future? So these were some questions that I think made him believe that I'm curious to know and I'm very much interested in his work. This question of mine, like, what are you looking in a student? So that I think made him think that I'm very interested in working with him specifically. So during the interview, I think he did most of the talking, and
Okay.
at the end only, I was asking questions, and he just finally he even talked some general things like what is the temperature here in Canada, and are there any direct flights from India to St. John's, and we even just talked about like what pattern does education system in India is following. So these are some general topics. He was just like, trying to make it a casual conversation. So, but I have heard from other people that in subjects like computer science, there are a lot of technical, things which are asked, and the interviews goes around for 1 to 2 hours. So mine was around 45 to 50 minutes,
Okay.
and yeah, so he was very kind to me during the interview.
Perfect. Perfect.
And
Wow.
he talked about funding on his own only. So
Okay.
I was relieved on that part. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Seems like you had a really nice experience. That's very nice. All right.
Yeah.
So obviously, the second question or the next question, which obviously comes to anyone's mind who might be watching this interview right now, is why did you choose this particular field? Like, what is the scope? Scope is the key word here. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do after this particular program?
Yeah. So I think you don't need to pre-decide a very long career path, but you should have an idea because professor will be asking you this question that what you will be doing after this.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was very clear and I'm very certain that I want to go for a PhD after this because I'm in a topic similar to my current master's thesis project.
Okay.
So, but also career path, I would say after doing a master's in biochemistry, you can go to industry. You can even my program is actually a mix of nutrition and biochemistry.
Okay.
So I can go for PhD either in nutritional sciences, in biochemistry, in health sciences. So there are many options. And if I talk about non-academic options, I think you can go to industry, you can go to manufacturing side even, and you can go to nutrition companies. So these are some options one can consider after doing this degree. But I am very sure that I want to go for PhD and want to go for research ahead only, and I want to become a professor after completing my education.
Perfect.
So, but I'm also very open-minded regarding country. If I get a better opportunity for doing PhD in some another country, I have no problem in shifting.
Okay,
So,
great. Great. So you are a very academically oriented person, I would say.
yeah,
Great, great.
yeah, right.
So, did you actually get a chance to talk to anyone else in your cohort who actually got the admission in the same program in the same intake, or you are just right now on your own?
So yes, actually, I did talk to a few students over there.
Mm-hmm.
My professors were very kind enough to give me few contact details of two of his current master's students.
Okay.
Sorry, one master student, one PhD student. So
Okay.
one student will be completing his MSc this fall, and one
Okay.
is in third year of PhD.
Great.
So I had an interview, like I had a casual video call with them. So they told me about the department and how is professor and how are other professors in the department, and overall how Memorial University is. And I even asked them this similar question, that what is the scope after doing this specific program. So that is actually a very good way to know the real picture, to get the what is happening. So because we can only just get to know from the university website or from YouTube or something. But
Right.
even I also contacted few other Indian students over there, which were not in my department, but in the other department of like computer science and organic chemistry. So I contacted them, and they were like they just all of them gave me a good positive response only regarding the university. So best thing was they told that professors are very helpful over there. Even like if you're coming for a research program, the research culture is not very uh, big in India. It's not something everyone wants to go for.
Right.
So even if you don't have a lot of experience with research, your professor will help you in that to begin.
That's great. That's great.
So even
So,
my
yeah.
professor in the interview told me that when I asked him this question, that what are you looking in a student? So one thing he told me, that I want an independent student who can work on his or her own, but I am always there to guide. But I can't be like all the time with you, just doing everything for you. I can't be like that, but I can guide you. But I want you to be independent in your research.
Great. That's nice. Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
nice. Oh, so based on your interaction with other students within that particular department, what do you think? What kind of profiles are usually accepted in these kind of universities or these kind of programs? Like, do they only come from the nutritional or biochemistry oriented backgrounds, or is it a very broad program, or a program with a broad spectrum?
So I think it's a program with very broad spectrum. So I would
Mm-hmm.
say good academic marks are required, but it's not very essential. So if you have a good research experience, your low academic marks can, your research good experience can compensate for the low academic marks.
Okay.
So and there are students with lot of broad spectrums over there.
Okay.
If even I've heard like one student after doing his MBBS in India is
Okay.
going for a master's in a research-based master's. So I
Great.
think that's very different thing. And student in my cohort, I would say, or in my department are not only so as I just said, I'm from home science dietetics background, and I'm going for nutritional biochemistry. So similar with other students, they are from some are from chemistry going for biochemistry, some are from biology going for biochemistry. So it is just like that. It's just that you have to show that you're very interested in that, and that's just you have to make sure that you do that. Then
Great.
only
Great.
you will get accepted. Yeah.
How many students are there in your cohort, if you know that, or how many seats are there in every intake? If someone wants to pursue MSc or a research based programs, how many seats do you expect to be there?
I think in research-based master there are no fixed seats. For
Okay.
usually non-thesis course masters, the seats are fixed. In
Okay.
thesis-based masters, it totally depends on what amount of funds professor is currently holding, and if he or she needs student or not. So I think two students just joined this year with my professor specifically, and 3 students were earlier there. So I don't think so. There's any fixed seats that
Around
this month.
5 to 10 seats, right, depending upon the funds and grants that professor has. All right.
Yeah,
So it's always a good idea basically to shoot a cold email to all the professors that you are interested in. Yeah.
absolutely. So you have to cold email. You have to take the chance. Then only you can go ahead. Yeah.
Great. So Varleen, did you apply for your visa?
Yes, I have applied. I'm done with my biometrics and medical, waiting for the PPR request currently.
Okay, great. I wish you all the best, and I'm pretty sure you will get your visa very soon. Before ending this podcast, if you want to share anything.
Yeah, I do have one, two things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one thing I would say, don't trust agents and educational consultants. So
Okay.
I had this very bad experience of contacting them. Everyone is going to tell you that you're not eligible to apply after 3 years degree. It is kind of impossible to go for a master's. But I think websites are very detailed, and I used to email the graduate department for even some simple basic doubts, and they were very helpful and often very quick to reply. So, just as I said, the way you present yourself, even your simple internships, your voluntary works is important. You have to emphasize on your role and what changes it brought. And there's a lot of information online and on the YouTube. I must say, like, lot of information. I at least watch 10 to 20 videos before writing my SOP. And Sahil, your videos were very helpful. I came to know about this university through one of your video only.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And keep all your documents ready beforehand. At least start looking for the professors 1 year ahead. So if you want to go for fall 22, then you have to start all your research in this August and September. So this is the perfect timeline. And see their research papers and currently ongoing projects in their labs. And I've recently joined Twitter, and I'm seeing a lot of people are posting lab openings over there, and even some professors too. So many, so it is a good way to know about what is going on, what is available. And many online webinars are also happening these days due to the COVID by scholars to guide you regarding the application process. And it is totally free, and they're very helpful. You can even ask one-to-one questions. Yeah. So these are some things I want everyone to consider.
Okay, great. Because you actually emphasized on the fact that you actually got into masters, that is fully funded masters with your 3-year bachelor's degree without any prior research or thesis kind of experience. That those are the perfect things. I think everyone would be so excited and everyone would be so happy to hear all those things. So thank you so much for that again.